Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to this special edition of the program titled Chiropractic Spotlights. Meet America's leading chiropractors. I'm Mark Imperial. My next guest is Dr. Ian Rainey, all the way from Florida, the Clearwater area. Dr. Rainey, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Can you kind of introduce yourself, give us the name of your practice, and tell us about the type of clients that you serve?
My practice is in Dunedin, Florida, which borders Clearwater. We're in a small town close to the beach in Florida, and I am a second-generation chiropractor. My sister is a chiropractor. My father was a chiropractor, and just kind of, I guess, runs in my blood, if you will. And I just have a passion for helping people achieve optimal health, whether it be getting them out of pain to start out with that, or whether or not they're on a wellness journey to try to achieve, the best health that they can and live the best life that they can.
Super. What's the most common condition or ailments that you find your patients facing when they come to see you?
Well, typically neck pain and back pain, those are two main conditions that chiropractors are known for being excellent at treating and helping people to resolve. So I generally see neck pain, back pain, but my dad was a very eclectic chiropractor, and he would sit down and spend as much time as it took to get people well, whether it be something that anything. It was pretty wild what he did. But majority of the things that I get are neck pain and back pain. I'll get people with sciatica, radiating pain in the fingers and the toes and the arms, But I also see a lot of car accidents here in Florida, so that also makes the majority of my practice as well.
I also noticed on your Facebook page that you have a specialty on weight loss at your office as well. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I never considered chiropractic and weight loss.
Yeah. So I said my father's a chiropractor. My mother has owned a health food store for 40 years, like before health food was really popular. So I have a strong background in nutrition, and I will, do everything within my power to help people improve their nutrition and their health. And a lot of times people don't really care so much about that, but they do want to lose weight. So a lot of people come into my office initially just because they want to lose weight, or maybe they have knee pain and, we get them to lose a little bit of weight, reduce the inflammation in their body, and then they start to see how much better they can feel. And weight loss is just a great entry point because I generally get people 20 to 40 pounds of weight loss in 60 weeks, or not 60 weeks, in 4 weeks. So if we can safely get people to lose 20 pounds in a month, then they say, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. And, that's just a great starting point to really helping people transform the quality of their lives.
Oh, that's terrific. So could you tell me, Dr. Rainey, what are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that you hear from people about chiropractic? What's out there? That's a good question. What I do see is that I used to have a lot of medical doctors that used to think that the chiropractor was going to try to take their patients or vice versa. But, there's a small percentage of people even utilize chiropractic, much smaller than you would expect. And they don't realize that there is a natural way to relieve their neck and their back pain. They don't have to take drugs or have surgery. But I work in conjunction with all the medical doctors in the area. And it actually provides a great synergy to really, help people achieve optimal health. And some of the other things that I've heard, people say, you can paralyze yourself if you get your neck cracked. There have been studies that have been done that actually show your likelihood of having a stroke after a chiropractic visit are just the same or similar as going to the doctor, because typically you go there when you have a health issue. And it is, all the new chiropractic training shows you exactly how to adjust in a very gentle fashion. And for people who are concerned about having me adjust their neck, I have a special little tool called the activator. And it's very fast, but it's very gentle. And it just kind of looks like a spring-loaded clicker.
and I'll just put that right up to the vertebrae, and that will apply a quick little force. It'll move about a half an inch, and what it does is it makes that bone oscillate and kind of vibrate it, if you will. And as a result, the muscles start to relax around that bone, and you'll notice that all of a sudden you get your motion back and your pain goes away and you feel a lot better. So there's all kinds of different approaches that we can take to get people feeling better. So if a person is afraid or they have some fears, we just take a nice gentle approach and just explain everything so that they understand exactly what's about to happen, and so that way they're comfortable with the first experience.
You mentioned that chiropractic ran in the family. What else? Tell us a little bit more about that and what inspired you to become a DC.
That's a great question. Actually, when I was a little kid, I can remember being in my dad's office and it would be completely silent, and I'd be sitting there thinking, this is so boring. I don't want to do this. I want to be a fireman or a policeman or something really cool. And as I got older, I saw what my dad was doing. And one day when he was in his office, in between treating patients, he had a heart attack. And that heart attack actually took his life. And I remember when I went to his funeral, people came up to me and they said the most amazing things about my father. They would say things like, your dad saved my life. I remember one person said, your dad saved my dog's life. And I've never adjusted an animal. I don't know if he did, but he said that, they said those amazing things. And I thought to myself, what more noble profession could you have, than to be able to touch people's lives like that and to be able to improve the quality of their lives. And I never forgot the things that people said. And in the back of my head, I always thought, one day I want to be like my dad. So, after some time, I realized that's exactly what I wanted to do. So, years later, I decided to go back to chiropractic school a little bit later in life and follow my dad's footsteps.
That is really terrific to do something meaningful like that and have such meaning and touch people's lives. So Dr. Rainey, is there anything important that you'd like to share about chiropractic that I didn't think to ask?
Well, chiropractic, it's interesting. Chiropractic, it's a little bit different from office to office. We all go to school. There may be 50 different chiropractic techniques that all achieve the same objective, and that is to remove nerve interference in the body so that the body can express itself at 100%. Now, one chiropractor may have a different way of doing it than another, but, we're all kind of connected in one way or another. And our ultimate goal is to really just help people who need help, whether it be, getting out of pain or just achieving optimal health so that they can express life 100%, so that they can feel great and wonderful and enjoy their time on life. So, I just think that chiropractic, it's not like McDonald's. It's not the same thing everywhere you go. You can't really franchise it. It's a very unique profession because it's, every person is different. Every chiropractor is going to be different. So one chiropractor may do weight loss, another one may not. One chiropractor may use his hands and adjust a full spine method, and another chiropractor may use a tool. So we are all a little bit different. So, when you find a chiropractor, you really just want to ask them questions that you have and make sure you feel comfortable and, maybe just give it a shot. And if you feel that that's not the right person for you, then that's totally fine. And I'm sure they'll totally appreciate that because, we all want to work with people that we can help. And we also want to go to the places where we get the results we expect.
That's sage advice. Dr. Rainey, for our listeners out there that would like to connect with you, how can they find you and how can they reach you?
Well, they could reach me on the internet. If you type in Rainey Chiropractic, it's RAINEY. My website is RaineyChiropractic.com. It's RaineyChiropractic.com. And my phone number is 727-314-2663.
Fantastic. Dr. Rainey, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with our listeners today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your patients.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to chat with me.
I'm Mark Imperial, and this is the program spotlighting noteworthy professionals, experts, and business owners from around the world and in your town. If you know a great business or professional that we should feature on the program, I'd like to hear from you. You could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. Once again, that's radio@markimperial.com. In this next segment, our home stretch, I've got a special treat for you. If you're a business owner or professional, or if you aspire to be one, for over 7 years, I've been interviewing leading experts and business celebrities and sharing their secrets to success with you. From my first show, Entrepreneur's Edge, to Game Changers Radio, to Mad Rocket Business, all the way to Remarkable Radio and this program today, in this home stretch, I'm bringing you a flashback to one of my most popular episodes, covering how to attract clients magnetically using only the power of words and without costly branding. So enjoy this very special edition home stretch, and here we go.
Now, get the edge. Here are Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's Mark Imperial, another power thinking hour here at Entrepreneur's Edge.
Mark, this is Tom Rebar, and it is time for all the capitalists and all of the entrepreneurs and the self-employed people and the professionals in private practice and all the sales and marketing pros to come out of the woodwork and put their feet up and join together and learn for an hour.
That's right. So welcome back, everybody. And we've got a terrific show. We're recapping a fantastic week that we had here at Entrepreneur's Edge. We just had our Entrepreneur's Edge live event last Wednesday, and boy, it was a hoot. The party was jumping. I'm telling you, they almost had to kick us out of the hotel.
They did, and there's nothing like talking about advertising and copywriting that gets people out of their chairs, because once you start talking about that, people realize that even if you thought you knew everything there was to know about it, you realize there's more to learn and more to still learn.
Yeah, the place was absolutely on fire. We had Conrad Hall and Ken Schreiber join us and speaking on copywriting and writing the words that sell your business. What better way to get to the bullet points of that than to recap what we talked about at Wednesday's event?
Go for it.
And you know what? In fact, if you missed it, you really missed a hugely valuable opportunity to boost your response. Because I'm talking about, we talked about headlines and postcard and copy that got 4 to 5 times the response of another control. So that's a 400 to 500% increase by just changing the words on the paper. How many folks don't think about that?
A whole bunch.
So we started out, one of our guest speakers, Ken Schreiber, he was talking about lead generation and the minute differences about generating leads with your copy as opposed to like using sales conversion. Now, one of the key points and takeaways he talked about, he started out, check this out. The first thing he said when he got up on the stage is he said, who here wants a surefire way to get new customers or prospects without any marketing cost? And all the hands went up, right?
Mine went up.
Yeah.
I was the first one.
Now, guess what? He says that was the first lesson in lead generation. You are trying to identify exactly with the person, what is it that they want. So if you have the right market, the right list, and then you give them that question, who wants this solution? And you're talking directly at a person, and they raise their hand and identify. That is it. That's as simple as that. And then you make them an offer that they just can't refuse.
Because all you want is to find out who those people are who are willing to raise their hand.
Yeah, and you could adapt that into any business type that you can. Now look at this. Another key is speaking directly at that target person. If you get a list, if you're doing a mailing, a postcard mailing, and you know who that customer is you're looking for, you identify it and you speak directly at their problems. You have to identify, and we talked about this, I call it the hidden benefit, because you have to you think about your customer and think of all the problems that they have in their lives, because what you are is you're a problem solver. That brings up another point. A lot of business owners, a lot of businesses out there, they make the mistake, and we had some folks talk about this in the room as well. I say, what is your ad about? What was the message you put in your marketing? And they said, well, a discount, a discount or percentage off. And the reality is that they're trying to sell their product directly. And we say that
kind of hurts your response, because when you try to sell your product directly, the only people that are responding are those that are ready to buy like your widget or your thing right now.
At that immediate point in time.
So it's about transcending timing. So we're going to be back after this break and continue, because we've got a lot of nuggets that came out of that event on writing words that sell. BusinessEdgeRadio.com. Go to the website, get our free gift, and we'll be right back after this.
Stay with us.
Business owners and entrepreneurs. Once again, here's Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome back to your Power Thinking Hour for entrepreneurs and business owners. It's Mark Imperial.
This is Tom Rebar. Hey, Mark, let's go back to that the story you were telling right before the break about the person who was going for the jugular and trying to make the big sale right out of the gate. Let's try to make sure we bring the loop fully closed there. What do you do to get around that?
Well, let's see. As I mentioned, a lot of business owners, they think, they're not, they're in the mindset of, I got to sell my thing. So they're focused on, how can I sell my thing? Let me present my product or my service, and let me give a discount or a coupon. That's like the knee-jerk reaction to what they're offering.
And then when people don't buy, right away they think, my price is still too high, so they get into this headset of, now I got a further discount.
Yeah, they're focusing on the wrong thing, and it's because they get a low response rate. But our answer to that, what we know from testing, is that the low response rate is because you're not transcending timing. You're making an offer for people that are ready to buy right that minute. But then when somebody is in the buying cycle, but they're not just quite ready to buy yet, and maybe a month down the road, they forgot all about you. You're only picking up the immediate buyers. You have to find a way to transcend the timing, and we do that with lead generation.
And it has nothing to do with price. So
that's right.
Get price out of your head, that it's not that your price is too high.
That's often the last thing to even consider is the price. I mean, the example that I'm going to give you and for the listeners is we had a terrific home remodeling company in the audience, and asked us, how do we directly link what we're talking about here at the event to his type of business? I said, is there a business that feels like they don't know how to link this lead generation strategy to theirs? And then he raised his hand and he said, home remodeling. What do I do? And I said, what are you doing currently to get your business? He said, I did a mailing. What was the offer on the mailing? It was a discount of some sort. And we told him the same thing. You're selling a discount. You're only going to pick up the buyers ready to buy now. And then he said, well, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you want to find people that may not just be thinking about buying right now, but maybe they're already in their head. You know what? 6 months from now, a year from now, I know I'm going to have a move. How are you going to get those people to identify themselves so you can continue to stay in front of them? Well, we said, why don't you offer a report called, the 7 deadly traps and how to avoid them, how to save blah, blah, blah on your remodeling costs, how to get how to remodel your kitchen, your home or whatever, and save the maximum. 7 deadly traps, a report that is going to be useful to that prospect. That way, even if it's 6 months or a year from now that they're thinking about the move, they still want that free report. That little trick alone increases the response 4 or 5 times.
Easily. And you could tell that this fella, because I was sitting across the room from him, he had a big smile on his face as soon as you started to unveil that story, because you could tell right away he got it. Mm-hmm. And head kind of went back into oh, that makes sense right away to him. So
that's right.
He was a very smart person.
Yeah. So, back to the list of what Ken Schreiber was speaking about. He's, another nugget was speak directly at him. Who is it that you're mailing to and what is their direct problem? The next point is everyone's favorite radio station besides WIND is WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Exactly.
So that, literally the headline or the message that you put on your mailing pieces has to address directly at them, because it has to pass that test. Conrad Hall mentioned this, the so what test. You read your headline, whatever you consider your headline, and run it through your own head and say, okay, I read something and so what? Is it going to make you say so what, or is it going to intrigue you to read further?
Well, in fact, he even suggests to do that for every one of your bullets. When you put the bullet there, just read it out loud and say, now, so what? What is that person going to answer if they read it and you say, so what, to give yourself a chance to substantiate that bullet in your head?
Yes, that's right.
Is it a worthy bullet?
Yep. And I have a litmus test actually for you. Let's first of all, let's wrap up with what Conrad was talking about before we even go into the litmus test on headlines. But, Conrad has a great description for copywriting. He said it's the art of using words to create action. Now think about that. The art of using words to create action. How many folks really think of their advertising in that way? The most of the time I see people doing an advertisement, it's like the name of their company or their logo. How does that create any action?
One of the best testimonials for last night was I brought my assistant along to your summit. He is just beginning to think about the art of copywriting. And when we left, he said that was one of the best meetings he's ever been to. And he got more notes in a short period of time about how to write copy than he ever thought he would by coming along last night.
It's incredible. And, a lot of the stuff that, many of our pros in Mastermind, for example, we take it for granted because we've been so immersed in this kind of marketing, but it's eye-opening for many. For example, one of the keys, the big keys that was huge for everyone in the room was when Ken Schreiber described, and remember the headline, who else here wants to know how to acquire new customers and prospects without any acquisition cost, right? Now, how do you do it without acquisition cost? Well, if you were at the summit, I don't have enough time in the next 4 minutes to tell you, but you can do, it was a brilliant strategy he had about liquidating your marketing costs. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be at Entrepreneur's Edge live events. And these are the kind of things that we talk about. So, this is probably the best time ever to give a plug for the next live event. Make sure you go to Business Edge Live or businessedgeradio.com, click on the live events tab, and you're going to find the next meeting in Madison, the next meeting in Green Bay, and the next meeting in Oak Brook. Hey, we've only got about a minute here, and I want to talk about one bullet. I have about 12 here.
Go ahead.
But let's talk about the headline, because what is the headline? The headline of your ad is the ad for your ad. Does that make sense? And what is the only job of the headline?
The only job of the headline is to shout it out and get somebody to be interested in taking the next step, which is to read what else is there.
Read the next line, absolutely. And it's the most valuable real estate on your ad or your postcard or your mailing. And what do most companies inadvertently waste in that space? What do they do in that space instead?
How many people put the name of their company or their logo up at the top of the ad or the top of their website, and then they wonder why nobody's reading it? It's because they never had a headline there.
Hey, in the wrap-up, I'm going to give my litmus test for great headlines for all the listeners. After the break, Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois, will be joining us to give us his tips, tricks, and secrets for furnishing your office. We'll be right back. BusinessEdgeRadio.com.
We'll be here. Stay with us. BusinessEdgeRadio.com for all the events.
Hey, we're back. It's Mark Imperial.
And this is Tom Rebar. We are in the home stretch again. Mark, I can't believe another week has gone by so fast.
That's right. Hey, we're back here with Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois. Hey, Tom, I wanted to ask you, you just recently joined our mastermind group here at Entrepreneur's Edge. Can you tell me what drew you to the group and what you're getting out of it so far?
Well, what drew me to the mastermind group is, I want to have other like-minded entrepreneurs and people that I can basically bounce ideas off of, talk about my business to help expand it. Because as a lot of people know, there's a lot of businesses in one business that you can extrapolate from. So just having that, and then it's also, for accountability when you come up with new strategies and ideas, there's some accountability because they're going to ask you, well, what did you do with what you said you were going to do with last month?
Yeah.
And, action is the way to make things happen in business.
That's terrific. And now for the folks listening, whether they're a property manager or a business owner looking to move or improve their spaces, how can they get a hold of you for your information?
You can go to thinkspaces.net and you can fill out one of our interior design contact forms, or there's a phone number on there that you can call, 630-324-4598.
Tom, it was terrific having you on the show. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the show.
Terrific. Thank you. Tom, we're on the home stretch now.
We are. I can't believe it.
Now, I promised a litmus test for people to test whether their headlines are any good.
So give them.
All right, here it is. Now, this is sort of like the classified test, if you think of like a classified ad. And what are the classified ads all about? It's usually a small, tiny little ad, right?
Very small.
With just, you don't have enough room to put anything but a blurb and a call to action, a CTA, like a phone number, right?
That's exactly right.
So what you do is you take whatever you think is your headline, and then you neuter out everything else and just put your phone number or whatever your response mechanism is under it. And if the two make sense and entice you to move forward, like let me give you an example. What do most people use as their headline that's wrong? And we talk about this a lot. The company name,
and maybe a logo.
So let's look at the litmus test. A to Z painting, phone number. Now, is that entice you to take any action?
So who'd call with A to Z painting and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
That's right. There's no words that cause action. Now, what if the headline, let me think just off of the top of my head here. Let's use an example for a bowling alley, okay? Something weird. Now, what if the headline said how to bowl a 300 every time and then a phone number? Now, that causes you a little bit more enticement to call that number.
Sure
So
would.
there's a difference between that's the litmus test. Take your headline and put just the headline and the phone number or response mechanism. And is that enough to make somebody take some action? That's the litmus test.
Great test.
So that makes every word count.
Hopefully nobody just puts that in an ad, a headline and a phone number. It'd be nice to have a little more copy than that. But I understand what the litmus test is.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we talked about. And it's about all the time we had to talk about today was headlines, but It's the most important piece. What else do we know about headlines? Headlines are the most important part of the ad. You remember at the event, I gave you 3 headlines that were tested. And I'll tell you what, let's do the test right now. One of the headlines got 5 times the response of the other 2. Was it headline A, I've never been able to get a good portrait of my child until now? Or B, finally a children's portrait worth more than the paper it's printed on? Or C, the best children's portrait at the right price guaranteed? We did this test. People raised their hand. The room was about split. But the answer is B. And again, we said, what's the reason why? Everyone gave reasons that they thought why B won. But the truth is, it doesn't matter. You just have to test.
And everybody's afraid to test.
And guess what? They didn't change any other part of the ad.
Customer.
Just the headline.
Hey, go out to businessedgeradio.com. We have Wayne Brightbath coming this next month in March up in Green Bay and Madison. He's going to talk about business use of LinkedIn. Unbelievable ideas. So come and see us.
See you later.
Hey, it's Mark Imperial. I hope you enjoyed those highlights. Again, if you know a professional or business that we should feature on the show, you could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. One more time, that's radio@markimperial.com. Until next time, this is Mark Imperial. Make it a remarkable week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.